Hey everybody, it's Bridget here with another episode of Role Playing Public Radio. I am an award-winning author, industry-leading game designer, RPPR's most amazing GM, a God's special princess, and the most interesting girl in the world. I also respond to brisket, basket, budget, and bisquick, and my pronouns are she, her. Today we're going to be playing not D&D, a campaign that I still have not found a name for other than Drow and Dracoliches, and that's just its name now. I have, of course, my three players here with me, Faye, Rachel, and Winter. So I'm going to go over to them now for them to introduce themselves and the characters they'll be playing. Faye.
All right. So, Faye, you know who I am. I'm playing Rushk. She is a doctor of traditional medicine in Faerun, which is not entirely common and not often taken seriously. She is based in the field ward of Waterdeep, where she has her practice, and is struggling to make sure that everyone stays healthy.
Deal. That sounds great. Excited to get to know her through the campaign. Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel. Pronouns are she, her. I am playing Dahlia Invalsa, who is a high elf warlock, but her sort of whole deal is that she is an albino and so gets sort of confused with a type of albino drow, and as such she is a spy, trying to sort of find her way in the world, sort of stuck between two places, not really actually being either of them. She is a Pact of the Chain warlock, has a lovely little black cat familiar, and yeah.
Excellent. And lastly, Winter.
Hello, I am Winter. You might also hear me called Lydia. I use she, her pronouns. Today I'm playing Zestra Talar, who is a paladin of Illustrae. She's really cool. Very excited. That an introduction.
Winter will be doing her absolute best to pronounce Elizatri correctly, and I will not be, because Elizatri rolls off the tongue and it's easier to say. So nobody tell Ed Greenwood. All right, I guess it is time for opening narration. I think the thing that I'm most famous for. The year is 1501 DR. The last 100 years have been an endless procession of apocalypses. The Time of Troubles, the Spellplague, the Wailing Years, the Great Rain, the Second Sundering. Dozens of times the face of Faerun has changed dramatically, with cities rising and falling, phasing in from other realities, or being banished back to them. The weave itself has nearly collapsed almost 3 times, held together only by the efforts of reckless archmages, tireless in the face of the cyclical death and rebirth of the goddess of magic. The rules of divinity have barely held stable over this 100 years of conflict, and the reshaping of the Tablets of Faith 15 years ago holds a steady peace, with the gods content to remain aloof from the material plane. For now, perhaps. For the mortals of Faerun, however, yet another calamity has befallen them. A god is dead. Of that much we are certain. Its corpse lies rotting in the coastal waters near Daggerford, its massive body frozen in a spreading mass of salt. The god is dead, slain by an unknown hand, its followers powerless, the pantheons altered by the loss. Whatever upheaval this might cause, however, is shrouded in mystery, as the identity of the god remains a baffling question to the whole of Faerun. As the god died, the memory of it seems to have died as well, a perfect crime for whatever assassins may have perpetrated it. With no memory or understanding of how to mourn, the dead god leaves only opportunity, a power vacuum that stirs up strife. Surely, with this one gone, the heavens must be looking for a divine replacement. The seriousness of the situation has rocked the Sword Coast, as every lord, mercenary, and powerful charlatan senses the chance for a miraculous change in fortune. New cults have exploded overnight, seeking to capitalize on the horrific mystery of the god's death. The Faerun has almost healed from the scars left by the tyranny of dragons incident from 10 years ago, when Tiamat was briefly summoned to the material plane, causing massive destruction and loss of life. The tension building around the divine corpse threatens to be even more serious. In Waterdeep, talks of reforming the Council of Waterdeep have reached a head. Only one thing is clear. Something must be done. Winter. Not everything in the world has been so dire, especially for Zastra Talar, Silverhair Knight and Paladin of Elizatri. You've been successful in 2 dangerous campaigns, the battle to reclaim the Promenade of the Dark Main, and the assault against the Well of Dragons. Your goddess herself has even danced with you beneath the moonlight in the Temple Grove of Waterdeep. For your valiant service, you have been entrusted with one of the 20 Singing Swords, holy relics gifted to the Surface Drow by Elizatri herself. In recent years, you have become more diplomat than crusader, yet still you continue your efforts to bring your people out of the depths of Menzoberranzan and into the loving embrace of the surface. Rachel, the world is a contradictory, cruel mess for Dahlia and Valsa. Chains of responsibility and duty pull you in dozens of opposing directions. Your work as a counterspy against Drow intrusion is as exhausting as it is deadly, made even more difficult by the demands of the Church of Elizatri and the leash of your demonic patron. Trapped in this tight grip, you are alienated from those around you, even as your past is obliterated by external forces. While you have been on missions to the Underdark, your home city of Mithranor was destroyed by Netherese forces. It was not a place of happy memories, and yet it is gone forever. Still, you must labor under your infernal contract, caught in an endless series of lies and disguises. Faye, you have consigned yourself to the shadows of history, and done so by choice. Rushk is many things, among them a doctor, and the disguise you wear most comfortably. From your clinic in Waterdeep, you tirelessly help the poor and heal the sick, encouraging education and non-magical prevention of disease and injury. Your aid has proved invaluable in the many tumultuous conflicts of the present day, and, yet, you hide a darkness that none know about, a desire for change that borders on the terrifying and the radical. Few in Faerun understand the capability of a sharp knife as well as you, and you mean to put the edge to purpose. I gotta lean away from the mic to breathe in. Cool air flows through the muddied streets of the field ward, threatening an unpleasant overnight frost. The impoverished residents of the ward pull their meager coats tighter, hurrying indoors as night begins to blanket the city of Waterdeep. The lamplight service always comes to the field ward last, and for a moment the streets are perilously dark as you trudge your way to your destination. An old and storied tavern pressed right up against the troll wall, the inner wall that politely separates the rest of the wealthy city from its demi-human embarrassments. The Fat Tail, as it is known, is a strange building that sits on both halves of the troll wall. One entrance stands proudly and stately in the temple-studded sea ward, while the other slumps unassumingly in the field ward. Stopping briefly in the entryway, you scrape the muck from your boots and nod pleasantly to the doorwatch, an enormously imposing half-orc woman. She leans against the machinery of a simple elevator and assaults you with a series of terse questions designed to discover if you are City Watch. And, finding that you are not, politely inquiring if you would like to use the lift. Having passed your test and graciously refused her offer, you turn to the stone stairway ahead of you. 2 walks descend in parallel, one for coming and one for going. As you make your way down, the pleasant scent of fresh-made food greets you, and you can begin to make out the sounds of music interspersed with lively conversation. The bulk of the tavern sits well below the troll wall, a vaulted stone structure that skirts the shallowest depth of the Undermountain. You arrive unhurried and pass through an open arcade and into the Fat Tail proper. Save for the lack of windows, it is much like any other tavern with familiar trappings, quaint decorations, spacious tables, a clean bar, and a little stage upon which a bard plays out some tired old melodies. You are here at the behest of someone who is trying to hire your adventuring services, and right now you don't see them. Instead, it's just groups of people you recognize as belonging to various factions of Waterdeep who may or may not want to be seen above ground. Some of them, you can tell, are involved with some of the seedier aspects of the city, and some of them look like they're desperately trying to be incognito and failing miserably, because whenever have you seen a noble woman in a good disguise? So as you wait, you do spy somebody that you noticed. Sitting in one of the tables is an unassuming elf priestess of Saloon, who smiles and waves at the three of you. What do you do?
I suppose, how long has it been since the three of us have seen each other? We're not exactly perfect acquaintances, but we've been working accomplices once or twice.
That's true. You could have seen each other as often as you want to, because you have cause to run into each other.
Rushk is the kind of person to make not exactly an event of meeting people after a period of time, but gives it just enough notice to make the other person think, oh wow, I was on somebody's mind. So Rushk would approach with, the open arms and reach out for a handshake for probably Zastra first and be like, Zastra, or rather, Miss Talar. It's been some time. How are things on the council?
As tiring as ever.
Well, we're lucky to have you. And Miss Navalsa, how are you? Do you need any more sunscreen? I hope that you're staying out of harsh sunlight.
Oh, I think it seems like I seem to have enough on me at the moment, but of course, you can never necessarily have too much considering how the weather patterns have been changing around, but I think I'm good. But it is so nice to see you, as always.
Well, thank you. And of course, if you ever need any more, just let me know. Drop by the clinic.
Much appreciated.
Of course. Now, I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate us lingering in the doorway too long. Why don't we greet our would-be admirer? I gesture for Zastra and Dahlia to go first.
She's still smiling and waving at you. Like maybe you don't see her.
Right.
I think they would probably go in first, just sort of walk quickly, excitedly up to the table.
She waves for you to sit down. And she's like, Dahlia, I feel like I haven't seen you in ages, even though, we ran into each other this morning. Please sit.
Oh, thank you so much. She'll sit down and take her backpack or her satchel off her back, and it's like a little leather satchel. There's a little viewing piece into it, and there's a black cat sitting in there. She'll take the cat out and have it sitting
It's
on
a
her
bubble backpack for a kitty?
Yes.
Oh, yeah? That's adorable.
Oh, that rules.
What's the name of your kitty?
Her cat is named Ink.
Ink.
So, albino drow, black cat.
Yeah.
I understand what kind of witch you're playing.
Yeah.
Shiria, of course, also motions to Zastra and is like, Zastra, darling, how are things at the new temple? Please sit next to me. And who's your friend?
I will
recognize her,
slide
right?
into the...
This isn't unfortunately a common occurrence. You have run into Shiria many times, Rushk, and she never seems capable of remembering your name or anything about you.
I'm polite about it. I let Zastra keep going. I just wanted to make sure I knew her.
I will slide into the seat next to her and gesture, this is my friend Rushk.
We're all
nice
acquaintances of each other.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Shiria. We've met once or twice, but don't worry, I have one of those faces.
That must be it. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Of course, it's really no trouble. I understand. I see quite a lot of people every day, and it can be a little difficult keeping track of all the names.
So the three of you here together, am I right in saying that you are here to see Val, perhaps? I hear that she's been contracting out a lot of adventures lately.
Oh, interesting. As far as I know, that seems to be the person we're looking for.
Does Shiria have a last name, or is it just Shiria?
All I have written down is Shiria, if you want to add a last name.
Is she an elf or a dark elf?
She is a moon elf, priestess of Saloon. And that is
I don't
very
know what that
obvious.
is.
She's wearing her robes and vestments, and she has her little moon symbol on her robes. So moon elves are just paler elves. Sun elves are the more bronzer elves.
Okay.
Technically... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, technically, Dahlia is a sun elf. She's just like a freak accident of a genetic thing that happened. So she just does not look like one at all. But essentially, that's where she came from. Very much out of place.
Poor Delia. Now, Miss Shiria, this is news to me that Val is contracting adventurers, and I usually try to keep my ear to the streets. Do you happen to have any idea what Madame Val is trying to accomplish?
Well, I don't like to repeat gossip, but
Oh, it's
I
us.
think
It's fine.
I think it has something to do with, well, the thing that everybody's talking about, the body that's off the coast of Daggerford. I think
Right.
that she's gathering adventurers for some kind of expedition to it. And it might be at the behest of Lariel Silverhand herself. And of course, all of you know that Lariel Silverhand is the open lord of Waterdeep.
Anyone who's paying attention would catch just the briefest of grimaces on Rushk's usually pleasant smile.
Interesting. Sorry. So is she the person that did contact us? That is the person that's doing this, or is it somebody else?
So
Or do we not
you're here
know?
to see Val. Yeah, Val's
Okay,
here
cool.
to contract you, because she's done this kind of thing before.
Yep.
She hires adventurers and gives you strange things as payment. So they're always
that's
useful
fun.
things, and then most of the time magical things. But
Cool.
lots of
Okay.
people just sell them for gold because it's easier to have. But
Cool. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to confirm.
part of the stories of the tavern that she just has a room somewhere with just a
Oh,
bunch
that's
of
fun.
artifacts stashed in it.
That
And then she
rules.
just grabs something from it to pay you. You notice while you've been talking to Sharia that the bard on stage is doing a terrible job of pretending not to eavesdrop on your conversation.
No, that's what happens when you sit close to the stage.
It's true.
Yep. I mean, it's no particular problem. Well, Madam Shiria, or Miss Shiria, would you happen to know where the lovely patron of the Fat Tail might be?
Well, if she doesn't come out on her own, you could always try asking behind the bar. She might be in her office.
Of course. And it seems like our bard friend might have a couple questions for you. If you don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself and head over to the bar.
Okay. So you head over to the bar, and there is a girl just cleaning glasses and filling orders. And as she sees you approach, she seems to recognize you, and she points to a door behind her, which leads further into the back of the tavern.
I'll gesture for the other two to follow.
Okay.
I will give Shiria a big hug before heading out.
She hugs you and pats her head.
Zastra's a hugger.
Mhm.
Talia just kind of like looks at the hug, thinks about it, and just like instead puts her hand out, like, and tries to give as warm of a smile as she can.
Shiria takes it and gives you a very enthusiastic double-handed handshake.
Oh.
So you go into the back, and there's a kitchen as you would expect, and there is a tiefling cook who is working through the night's orders and points you to a further door. And beyond that, when you enter into the very large office of the proprietress of the Fat Tail, and it is exactly as you would just think it would be, which is messy as hell. There's ostensibly a desk that you would use to, orderly organize your files and things like that, and it is covered in papers. The sides of it is covered in papers. The large chair behind it is covered in papers. There are books and stacks of scrolls and other things haphazardly shoved everywhere. Additionally, there are several trunks full of various items just open, some of their contents strewn onto the floor. Necklaces, brooches, bangles, rings, swords, shields, half suits of armor.
Jeez.
And digging through them with a frantic pace is so surprisingly tall, especially for an elf. White-haired woman with rubies for eyes. She has very broad shoulders and a quite intimidating in a small space. You can hear her muttering to herself, I know I left it around here somewhere.
Oh my god. Too real. Dahlia will just kind of clear her throat, but then sort of announce, Mistress Val, we're here. We're here to see you, I think.
Just a minute.
Oh, so sorry.
Aha! She pulls up a ornate obsidian box out of the mess of all of this and smiles very proudly to herself before turning around to acknowledge you. She's like, hello, welcome, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you could be here on such a short notice. I know it's a long trip, or a short trip, I honestly don't know. Would you like to sit? And she gestures to a collection of chairs that have things all over them.
I will tidy off a chair and sit on it.
Right, sorry about that. I've just been, looking for things. Anyways, hello, how are you all doing? Thank you for coming.
I'm doing quite well lately, Val.
Excellent. Nice to see you. So, I'm going to cut right to the chase. I have need of both diplomats, she gestures at Zastra,
Nope.
and spies, she says, looking at Dahlia. And then she heads to the doorway and yells down the hallway at the Comet Room. And since the Harpers don't have time for me, she comes back in. That means I have need of you. And she smiles mischievously. Of course, I don't expect you to help me purely out of the goodness of your hearts. So I have two gifts. One a bribe and the other a puzzle. Which do you fancy first?
I would like to see the puzzle.
Yeah, I think puzzle.
She takes the box and says, which one of you wants to hold it?
Do you mind if
Come
I
on,
take a
don't
look
be shy.
first?
Yeah, go for it.
She
I'll
hands
hold
you
out my hand.
the box, and it's very easy to open. There's no lock on the latch or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And inside, cushioned in red velvet, is something. It kind of looks like a crystal of some kind, like a see-through clear glass crystal, but it's also kind of shimmery and wet, but not liquid at all. It is very difficult to look at, not painful, just difficult.
Interesting. If you don't mind me asking, where exactly did you come across this crystal? I think?
Oh, that's easy. It fell out of my head.
Oh, well, that will certainly do it.
It's, of course, why I forgot about where it is.
Forgive me for butting in, but your account of events is rather alarming. Are you well?
Oh, I'm quite well. Thank you for checking in on me, Doctor.
Of course. And building on that, I must ask, you say you have need of spies and a member of the council. What might be my purpose here?
Well, if I can't have a Harper, then aren't you the next best thing?
I should hope that I am better than the Harpers.
Well, that makes me very happy to hear.
I've been looking at this crystal for a minute. What happens if I pick it up?
If you pick it up, the concept of thought enters into your mind, and you feel like in the back of your head there is something you have forgotten that you are trying desperately to remember.
God.
What a strange sensation.
Me every day.
Right? Did anything happen to the crystal when I picked it up, or is it
The
still there?
ADHD crystal.
It still looks very normal.
Okay, I will
She's
put it
slipping her
in the
fingers
box.
and grinning at you and says, have you figured it out yet?
You said it fell out of your head.
Yes.
It makes me feel like I've forgotten something. Is this some kind of memory?
Oh, that's very strange.
Exactly!
Oh.
I knew you were just the people for the job. That
I'll put it
right
back in the
there
box
is
and hand
concentrated
it over
shard
to...
of pure memory. And now for the bribe, it is not the only one in Faerun.
Interesting.
Of course, I'm sure you're all familiar with what you can do with a shard of concentrated memory.
I can't
Would
say as
we?
I've had the opportunity to know that information.
You can remember things.
Of course.
Not just anything. Things that happened, things that will happen, or things that didn't happen, and yet have happened. And she winks at you conspiratorially.
Interesting.
May I clarify something, Madame Val?
Yes, of course.
Are you offering this shard of memory as the bribe? Or just the knowledge that others exist?
Both?
Then surely what you are going to ask of us must be suitably difficult.
It's quite true. I have several odious tasks that I would like to burden you with.
I cannot promise success in whatever you assign me. I am just a doctor after all, but I
Well,
suppose
as
we
long
can
as
try.
you give it your very best effort, I think you'll be all right.
Your confidence is appreciated.
Very intrigued to see how exactly this pseudo intellectual crystal has to do with needing a spy. I have to assume something with the Drow is related.
Might be. In fact, that's one of my tasks. I have 3 for you now. I can tell you about them individually or all together, whichever is your preference.
I feel like we should just get it all at once.
Yeah, I think might as well have an idea of what we're up against.
All right. Well, I have 3 very pressing obligations, and I would like to charge you with seeing them through for me. The first, I think, will be especially appealing to most of the members of this group. I have a friend of a friend of a friend of an agent in Skullport who's telling me that there is a very special delegation of refugees that I would like to see you safeguard to the surface. After that, or before, if you prefer, there is an ancient temple sitting in the forests to the east of Waterdeep. And this temple is very special because it contained, until very recently, a mythal that protected it from grave robbers. And if a certain grave robber is to be believed, that is no longer the case. So unfortunately, as someone who is charged with watching after mythals, I would need you to go investigate for me. And lastly, that damnable witch queen won't stop sending me summons. I would like you to go to Miss Silverhand's office and see what she wants from me.
Of course. This all seems very doable.
Excellent. I hoped it would be.
Now, when you say very special refugees, how do you mean?
Well, I suppose you'll see that when you get there.
Any
If I
sort of
advertise
clue?
special refugees, wouldn't that put them at risk of some kind?
I suppose.
Is there any sort of, I guess, dangers in particular that we're going to want to look out for in helping them up to the surface, or just the usual?
Oh, absolutely. The usual Underdark dangers, of course, but potentially assassins.
Okay.
You weren't joking. These do seem like quite the ask. Aside from visiting Silverhand's office, the other two seem quite imposing, I must admit. Investigating the mythal, I must say, Rushk pulls a pocket watch from beneath her cloak. I unfortunately have patients I must attend to later this night. I do not believe I could make a journey out to... What was it? You said the east?
I did say that.
I see. I also have errands to be done in the city. Perhaps, if the two of you don't mind, we could choose between the refugees and seeing to what Miss Silverhand wants.
I think the one thing I have to assume about checking out the summons is I feel like that would add onto our list of tasks, if as it were. I'm sure the Lord of Waterdeep has very important business to ask of you, so I'm sure it'll just be some extra things to add to our plate, so I think perhaps maybe the refugees first.
Wait, okay,
That seems
really quick.
reasonable. Their need seems the most dire.
Are there taxes in Waterdeep?
Yeah, of course there are taxes in Waterdeep.
Okay. Now, forgive me for asking Madame Val, but just in the off chance that we could eliminate one of these asks, just nip it right in the bud. You're current on your taxes, yes?
If you could see to my tasks, discreetly and quickly, all 3 of them, I would very much appreciate that, Miss Grush. I would very much appreciate that in the form of writing, detailing a certain project that you may be party to.
You've made yourself eminently clear, excuse me. Well, Zastra, Dahlia, what say we make ourselves scarce and go see about those refugees?
Of course. Thank you so much, you three. Feel free to darken my doorstep whenever it pleases you.
Of course.
Okay.
Sorry.
You first.
I was just going to say, before, I wasn't sure if we were leaving the tavern at this exact moment, but if so, Dahlia was going to go talk to Shiria, or just, like, slip over to her real quick if she's still in the bar.
Yeah, she's still there. She's finishing up her soup.
Okay. But yeah, she'll kind of, like, hang back until the other two leave, and then slip over. Unless y'all are doing something else.
The only note I have is I put the things that I took off the chair to sit down back on the chair in as close an order as I could.
Of course, you lawful boring person, you.
Just being polite.
Order and disorder.
So Shiria is stuffing her face with bread that she's been dipping in the remnants of her soup when you come to see her. And she does her best to, wolf them down as she sees you coming.
Oh, my dear Shiria, I hope to talk with you in a more private fashion if possible. Do you have a second?
Oh, sure. Do you want to just step outside?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. So she walks with you to the stairs and up and out into the night. And the two of you hang out just along the troll wall in the relative darkness. And she's like, what is this about, my dear?
Well, we just finished up meeting up with the proprietress, who, of course, gave us some tasks. And I was wondering if you possibly happen to hear of anything regarding a possible group of refugees. Just, with everything that's been going on, I wasn't sure if the church knew anything about this, or, if it's related to anything.
I haven't heard anything about a group of refugees, but if you need some place to bring them, of course smart doors are open to them.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, it's just, the proprietress is just being interestingly cagey, and so I wasn't sure with everything that's been happening with the Underdark if there might be some sort of drow thing going on, or something like that, needed my attention.
She is charmingly unhelpful, isn't she?
It's the best way to send people to go do your jobs for you.
I haven't heard anything about any dealings in the Underdark, but if you need a safe place for your refugees, of course, you can bring them to the Temple of Saloon, and I'll make sure they're looked after.
Will do. Thank you so much. It's always so delightful to see you.
Absolutely, sweetheart. Come see me again soon.
Of course. And did everyone walk off together or go separate ways? Were we going to meet up somewhere else?
Arushka's just waiting, out front on the fieldward side.
Okay.
I think Zastra's waiting with you.
Okay. Yeah, then Delia will walk back over and meet up with them.
Awesome. What time of day is it?
It's kind of later on into the night now.
Okay. Now forgive me for adding to our list of tasks. I hope you don't mind, but would it be alright if we stopped by my clinic on the way to Skullport? I've left my poor assistant still at the clinic, and I just want to let them know to close up.
Of course.
Thank you.
On the way there, if I could talk to you about something. I've been out of town for quite a while, and I know you have a good handle on how the health of the community is. I was wondering if anything's been weird lately.
Rushk, look, it's a complicated expression. It's frustration and sadness, but it very quickly evens out. The health of the community is tenuous at best, as always. I wouldn't say that there's necessarily anything weirder than a dead god rotting in the ocean, but we're trying. It's an uphill battle, but I like to think that progress is being made towards the improvement of the lives here.
She nods.
Right, well, forward?
Oh, look, we're here.
Nods.
So you stop off at the clinic. It is right across the street from the grove of trees that was planted, 10, 15 years ago by the Church of Elizatry. It's a cute little shop. There's little flower beds out front where various medicinal herbs are being grown. There's some more on the roof that you can see from where you are. And it has a very pleasant little storefront. And the lights are still on inside, not full lights because, there's no need to serve clients right now. And when you head in, there's all kinds of things you expect to see in like a pharmacy, like the front end of a doctor's building. And sitting behind the counter, doing her best to stay awake, is a peach-skinned tiefling girl, about the age of 15, 16, who is, like I said, leaning on her elbows and trying not to fall asleep. And she perks up when she sees Rushk come in. She's like, Dr. Rushk, you're back.
Have we named her yet?
Her name is Lamentations Fairweather.
Cute.
Or you can just call her Lammy.
I'm going to call her Lammy. Hello, my dear. Thank you for watching the shop while I was out. I had expected to come back and resume business, but it seems that I'm needed on a bit of a longer errand. So, if you don't mind, would you be able to close up shop? If you're eager to get home, then of course, I'm sure I could have my friends help me close here.
Oh, no, I don't mind doing it, Dr. Rushk. It'd be my pleasure.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
my dad and my sister are still out, so, I'll probably be getting around the same time as them.
Of course. I know that they should be bringing back some denatured alcohol from the docks for me. If you want to wait around until they get back, I'm sure they would be more than able to give you a ride back home.
Absolutely. I'll just keep the side door open for them, and then, you want us to just set everything in the normal place?
Please, if you wouldn't mind. I have a bit of trouble with those. Lifting those heavy crates.
Oh, you
and
know
all.
it's no trouble, Doctor.
Well, thank you. And say hi to your father and your sister for me.
Of course.
Before we leave, I just want to grab a couple medical implements from the back. Most notably, just a couple pill cases and some vials with liquids in them, and put them in like my doctor's case, and I'm ready to leave whenever the two of you are.
Okay. How do you want to get to Skullport? There are many ways to do this. The safest of which is probably to just head into the grove across the street and use the portal to the Promenade of the Dark Maiden, the temple in the Underdark.
That's like,
since they both know that's there, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a paladin of Elizatry, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably the easiest
like
way to
asking your
do
mom
it.
for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Mom, can you take me to Skullport?
I was going to say that portal is not common knowledge, but I think you two would know about it.
Yeah.
You've absolutely used it before for variants. So the Grove is surprisingly populated at night, since, Dancing Under the Moon is their whole shtick. And so various other Drow in service to Elizatry wave and smile at you and make your way over to the portal.
The Dancing Grove is really interesting because it's like grown into a block of old buildings.
Mm-hmm. It is some dilapidated, roofless old buildings that they have
Oh, hell yeah.
simply repurposed as a grove temple.
Love that.
Portal is pretty assuming. It's in the middle-ish of the grove, and it's attended by a smiling priestess of Elizatry, who, of course, recognizes you, Zastra, and immediately authorizes you for its use, because, you're honestly such a big hero here that you could ask them for anything and they would probably make a commendation for you.
I will let them know that we may be coming back with refugees. I will also let them know that on the other side of the portal.
They, of course, ask you questions about the refugees, and of course you have precious little information to give them.
Yep.
When you come out the other side of the portal, you're in the Promenade of the Dark Maiden, which is a vaulted, carved stone structure in the Underdark. It's part of the Undermountain. which is a meshing together of the Underdark and the largest, most dangerous dungeon in all of Faerun, the Dungeon of the Mad Wizard.
Ooh.
I think it is probably poor urban planning to build your city on top of the most dangerous and largest dungeon of Faerun, but you know what? Maybe some people are into that.
Maybe the Mad Wizard was here first.
You know what? The Mad Wizard was here first.
It really was. Like, how do you support your dungeon expeditions if there isn't a town next to the
Yeah.
dungeon?
It's creating an ecosystem and an economy for adventures.
Like, yeah, maybe the town actually rose up because the dungeon is here.
Yeah.
You know, they've
It's
got-
literally it.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
Actually,
It's so funny.
it's like coastal cities.
The college
so
town.
the promenade of the Dark Maiden is very much more like temple-y, because you've got the statues to Elisatri, you've got your alcoves for your acolytes, and all kinds of things like that. And it opens into a section of the Underdark that is more or less halved. Most of the Underdark is just like huge caverns where there are various creatures and flora and fauna, but it's not particularly like, there's no paved roads or anything. And the promenade of the Dark Maiden is special in that the way down to Skullport is more or less official in trying to coax Drow to come up to the promenade and also maintain healthy relationships with the other residents of the Underdark. They maintain a sort of open sponsorship of merchants in Skullport. So the way down to Skullport isn't particularly treacherous.
Out of curiosity, how, like, what's the... I assume there's not a fucking bus or something, right? Like, how long is the walk to Skullport, even with the maintained sort of roads?
It's quite a walk. It's a couple miles. If you shouted, you could be heard in court from the temple or vice versa. But otherwise, it's just a walk that is mostly downwards from the promenade or upwards from Skullport.
Okay.
Lots of
if that's-
switchbacks and descending staircases and things.
If that's the case, Rushk would have to stop a couple times on the way to Skullport. Somewhat begrudgingly each time.
How old is Rushk? We know Rushk is a human.
Yeah, Rushk is like minimum 35, I want to say.
Yeah, Rushk is not a spring chicken anymore. And of course, I'm sure it's nothing for these 200-something-year-old elves in their prime.
No.
No.
This is a Tuesday.
Yep.
Make sure
So
you
you
cherish
head
your
down.
youth, it goes by fast.
Yeah.
So, Skullport itself is quite impressive. It's named because of the skull and the port. The skull is this rocky sort of island out in this water that flows through the Underdark, and it kind of looks like a skull. And the only thing you really know about it is the creatures that ostensibly own and operate Skullport live there. They don't really interfere with the mercantile side of things, but you know that if you were to break whatever law exists in the Skullport, such as it is, that's where you'd receive punishment. The rest of Skullport is the port, and as I've said, it's built out on water that flows into the Underdark. And it's mostly wrecked ships.
Ooh.
Skullport is very magically complicated. There are portals almost everywhere to various parts of Faerun, and that's what makes Skullport a perfect smuggling operation. You sail a ship into the Underdark, you buy things you're not supposed to, and then you sail it through a portal wherever it is you need to go. So naturally, racketeering and other extortion schemes are extremely common. So the whole place is built out of internested, sunken ships that people have sort of built into a stilted shantytown kind of thing. Which would be cool if it weren't for the fact that it's not a particularly nice place to be. Lots of poor places get a rap for being filled with crime, but Skullport is actually filled with crime. on the amount of, smuggling and such that comes through it. Thankfully, Val at least provided you with the location of your contact, which takes a bit of time to find because you kind of have to wander around. It's not really a place that you want to ask for directions. So eventually you come across a quaint shop held together with looks like the masts of several sunken ships. It is a humble nest of a building bearing the sign that simply reads Sundries.
Is this someplace that we would have been before? Or no?
It is very unlikely that you would have been here before.
How quickly do shops, pop in and out of business in Skullport?
It depends. If they can make a steady amount of money and they can pay off protection to Xanathar, they can be around for quite a long time. Otherwise, if they're very specialized and very stupid, maybe a couple months at best.
Well, suppose there's no, secret knock or, signal or code phrase or whatever?
Nope. Just
that Val gave us? Yeah, just it's a storefront. No need to knock then.
I just go in.
Yep.
So you barge into a shop that makes itself clear that this is probably a place where you buy solutions to problems. You can tell from the various jars and potions and vials and signage that if you wanted to eliminate someone in a very quiet manner, all of the tools of it would be located in this shop. There's a little bell attached to the door so it rings when you come in. And a very short woman, maybe 4 foot something, if that, hobbles out from behind the counter. She's wearing green robes that cover most of her body, and she has her hands up and very close to her chest. And she's like, "Yeah, what do you want?"
My back goes ramrod straight. So I do recognize this woman, right?
You do recognize this woman. And as you move further into the light, she stops and looks at you. No frickin' way. You're still alive?
I am still alive.
Wait, do you two know each other?
Yes. This is my... Rushk, pauses. She's caught in habit of introducing this woman in a different way. She clears her throat and is like...
She helps you out and she says, "Former compatriot. My name is Brescia Daga. Nice to meet you."
She's a priestess of... What is it again? Talone?
Former priestess of Talona.
Oh.
Oh.
Interesting. And sorry, what race was she? Was she a human or I blanked?
She looks vaguely human.
Okay.
You're not super sure?
Okay.
How long has it been since you've separated from your faith?
Well, after things went the way they did, I did a lot of thinking, and, well, I decided that faith was not something I particularly support anymore.
Rushk seems genuinely upset. I see. Well, it's good to see you again, regardless. I hope that our past and perhaps present relations do not impede on the business that we've been sent here to accomplish. If they do, I could see myself out.
No, don't worry about it, Rushk. I may not be the happiest to see you, but I'm not angry to see you either.
I'm glad.
Well, I suppose you're here for that merchandise, then.
Rushk nods.
She goes to go toward the back, but is interrupted as you hear the little bell, and unsavory characters begin filing into the shop, one after the other. They don't exactly look like assassins per se, but they definitely don't look like they're up to any good. It's a motley collection of people. All of them you can see armed with various implements for stabbing. One of them steps forward and says, "Gresha! Gresha! Seems we have some talking to do, Gresha."
Are these friends of yours?
These aren't friends of anybody. Listen, I'm all paid up. I have a license for business here. Russia, darling, you have a license for smuggling. What you don't have is a license for trafficking. And I've got word that you have some special merchandise back there. Thugs
I'm
sort
going
of
to say.
fan out into the room as though they're
was gonna
attempting
say.
to surround you.
I would like to intercede here, but I do not know how to say what I want to say.
What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to draw attention to you?
Kind of,
Kick someone's
yeah.
ass? Okay. So then we could probably, yeah, go for it.
I think she will step up in front of Gresha, and how much attention do I want to draw to myself?
That's up to you.
Because I feel like I could make things go very poorly for us.
For us?
Are you trying to intimidate him, or are you trying to start a fight?
Brisket, can I get a compel? Champion of the Silverhair Knights?
Of course.
Sure. If you want to just go ahead and start swinging, no questions asked, I'll let you have a fate point.
Oh, I was going to...
Sorry,
Or do
really
you have
quick,
a
how
better
many fate
suggestion
points?
for what that would like to look like?
Xanathar does not take particularly kindly to the Church of Illustrae
That's true.
on account of we have a tendency of freeing slaves, which he does not enjoy.
All right. So before I decide what comes on here, Faye, you said something about fate points?
Yeah, sorry. Just how many fate points do we each start with?
You each start with fate points equal to your refresh, which I believe is 3.
Okay, thank you. Apologies for the interruption.
So I think that these Xanathar thugs recognize you.
Mm-hmm.
They all put their hands on their daggers and start pulling them out. And the leader's like, Rush, you hire in Mooney pervert mercenaries now. Somebody tell you we're coming.
Are you just gonna stand there and take that? He called you a moony pervert.
I think this is just a fortunate coincidence on Gretcha's part, and I will draw my singing sword, and I will step forward and get right up in that person or that guy's face.
Trying to intimidate him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to use my stunt. When you augment your presence with divine will and attempt to come to a peaceful solution, you get +2 to overcome with charisma.
Okay.
I would basically like to imply that they should perhaps just back off and leave this business for later.
Okay. Well, this is going to be an opposed charisma approach.
Mm-hmm.
Probably his wisdom versus your charisma.
Is there any kind of help action that exists in the system, or
There is
anything
a
of
help
that
action
sort?
that exists
Okay.
in this system.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was kind of wondering, at this point, Dahlia had just had her cloak up as soon as they had come into the Underdark because she didn't really want to draw attention to herself. But at this point, she would probably take the hood off and just look very intimidating, and she does not want to have her shit messed with her. And I would assume if these people are from the Underdark, they would know exactly what she is.
Okay. So it sounds like you're trying to create an advantage.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll your fate dice. And I imagine this will
Okay.
be a charisma approach because you're trying to emphasize your presence.
Yes. Okay, that is dice rolling. And okay, how does this work?
If you could excuse me for just a moment, there's a creature screaming outside my door.
So go ahead and roll your fate dice.
Okay.
It's 4 of them. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative.
Okay. What's the command for it in dice rolling?
I honestly don't remember. I'm going to link you to a little
Okay, gotcha. Cool. Thank
fate
you.
roller. I don't particularly need to see your die.
Cool. Okay.
So you just click on that, and then you add your charisma, and you tell me how you roll.
All right. Okay, that is a -1, but +3, so that comes out as a +2.
Okay. So that is going to be a success. So let's say you create the aspect on the scene called Terrified of Drow. We're going to go ahead and attach that to our thugs. So if you need it, you can invoke it against them.
Cool.
All right. So for my roll, I have rolled a -2.
Okay.
So I am sitting at a 3.
Hey, a 3 would be a tie. So you want to
Can I
invoke that Afraid of Drow aspect?
Yep. Since it should have one free invoke. So I am now at a 5.
Nice.
Okay. So the dude tries to meet your glare, right? And get up in your face, and the longer it goes down, you can see his resolve a little bit waning. And so he kind of slinks back a little bit, but he can't lose all face. So instead of starting a fight with you, he's like, listen, just pay us the fee and we'll be out of here, all right? Nobody's got to get stabby.
Can I
What's
step in?
the fee?
Yeah, you can step in.
What's this guy's name?
We know.
It's not... Okay, I thought Xanathar was his name. That's just
No,
their group.
Xanathar is the name of the kid. Is the name of the...
Yeah, he's a big beholder boy.
Right, okay, that's Xanathar.
Yeah.
Rushk will step in next to Zastra and put a hand on Zastra's back, just kind of letting her know I'm stepping into the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very slow movements, not to scare anybody. Holds out her hand to the guy and is like, pardon for the late introduction, but my name is Dr. Rushk. I work in the field ward. Might you be so kind as to tell me your name, so that we might settle this amicably?
I don't see what it matters with me getting my payment, but it's Salad if you care.
Does he take and shake my hand?
Sure.
Okay. So Rushk will do that basically the same thing that Shiria did, the double handshake, but it's a very tender touch. And Rushk says, unfortunately we didn't come down here with much to our name. However, as I mentioned, I am a doctor. Should your men ever find themselves in need, you can call upon my services. Does that sound appealing to you? And I'm going to use my stunt, Bedside Manner, where I can add my dexterity to a social roll if I'm touching them.
Okay.
So, would that be... How exactly? Remind me how rolling in fate works again.
You roll your 4 fate dice.
Okay.
And you get an average, you get a result of anywhere between -4 and +4.
Right.
And then you add your dexterity to it, and you get your final number.
All right, so I got a 2 after the roll, added with
Nice.
3 would be 5.
Damn.
Okay. They are weak to bribes, and they rolled a 1, so they have a -1 overall, so you very easily succeed. This is a success with style, so you can get him to do whatever you want, and also get one extra thing out of him, which I assume would be to not bother Gresha again.
Yes, exactly. Now, Mr. Salad, if you would be so kind as to consider my dear friend Gresha Dogger's debt paid, I would be willing to offer my services ad nauseam, let's say.
Ad infinitum, you say? Well, it's hard to turn down a good back alley doctor. All right, Gresha. Consider this paid for now. But if any of your stinky moon friends come back, well, we'll have something to say about it. And he kind of gets up in Zastra's face, sees Zastra's expression, and kind of regrets trying to look tough. And they all stumble out the door.
As he steps up to me, I just set the edge of my sword on his shoulder.
Oh my god.
He makes a big show of brushing it off, but you can tell that it's for his buddies. He's quite scared.
I'll once they're gone, I'll put a hand on. Are you armored all over? What's your Zastra?
I think because she's in the city, she's only wearing
Wait.
a pretty small amount of armor.
Okay. So I'll put a hand just on your upper arm and give it a squeeze and say thank you for being patient with them. I really appreciate that.
Of course. Would always prefer a peaceful solution.
Certainly did not go the way I was expecting, and I'm glad that it didn't.
Yes, it seemed like you were quite ready to do away with them, Dahlia.
Throw down. Oh, well, I was more so hoping that they would just back off, considering, just making assumptions about why I'm here. So, didn't even have to pretend to be anyone, so.
I'm just glad no fighting started, because some of the things I got along the wall here, volatile
yes, it would be
is a good way to describe them.
Oh, about that special merchandise.
Right. Just wait here. So she goes into the back of her shop, and you see her, a little hairless rat tail slinks out from under her robes with a huge ring of keys in it.
Oh my god.
And she takes time sorting through them.
So much.
Before she uncovers the correct key. And when she inserts it into the door, you notice that there's a little magical symbol letting you know that the door is not opening to the rest of the shop. It is opening to somewhere special.
Ooh.
Mm.
That's fun.
She goes in and comes out a few moments later bringing the special merchandise, which is 4 very tall, extremely pretty, well-armed and armored drow women.
Good.
And a smaller, feminine-looking drow dressed in provocative silks, let's say.
Oh my god.
Mm.
A short king.
Russia goes to make introductions to you, but this
All
creature
right.
steps up to you, and with a dignified, if slightly hesitant curtsy, introduces himself. Says, "Thank you for coming to my aid. I am Nyara, a drow of..." I have this written down somewhere. Where did I put it? I do name things. Did you know that? I could have done this at any time. I could have looked at my notes.
It's
Mhm.
fine. All good.
Imagine.
Oh my god, aware. That's so cute.
All right. He introduces himself as Nyara. He is the Princess of Dereleft.
Daryl loved?
Yeah, I will write that
Thank you.
in the notes. And he does a cute little curtsy.
Cute.
He is like half the size of his bodyguards.
Yep.
You mentioned that he seemed hesitant. What's the read on him? Like, is he nervous to be here? Is it us specifically?
It seems like he's nervous in his duties as princess. It looks like he's very obviously trained in whatever court etiquette that is normal for Dereleft, but he's kind of young. It looks like he's only like 40 something.
Oh wow.
Maybe early 50s. So he is like he's kind of like a drow
A teenager.
like
Yeah.
17-ish.
Is it customary?
Obviously physically mature, but like emotionally and world experience, not so much.
Mhm.
Socially, as far as elves.
Would I know anything about this person or like the family that he says that he is from?
Yeah, let's go ahead and have you roll your wisdom approach.
Okay.
Or rather, your intelligence approach. Roll your intelligence approach. And I'm going to say that you need to hit a 5 if you want to have heard of Dereleft.
Alright, let's see. Oh my god, where did it? There it is. Okay, and you said intelligence. +2. No! That is a -4. Or -2. Rip.
-2. If you wanted to spend a fate point, you could re-roll that if you really, really want to know about Dereleft. Or you could leverage some of your fate points if you're excited to know about it ahead of time. But
No, I think I'm probably good.
okay.
I will stay in the dark about it.
Is it like, are there any customary things that happen when two drow meet each other, considering...
Oh, yeah.
What, as far as, like, everyone is concerned, what is Dahlia? Like, do we all think you're a drow? Are we privy to your inner workings yet? Or...
Y'all would be... So y'all know that she is not a drow and that she's just, like, a weird-looking elf, because essentially she's helped with, like... Specifically with Zaster, she would have helped with, like, some of the... sort of drow shenanigans that you've had to deal with. But I would say in this situation, she is probably... I don't know. I think she's kind of hesitating herself because she's not sure, like, just where exactly this princess falls in terms of, like, social ranking and shit. So
what's the
she's
best
kind
angle?
of just...
So Nia's a boy, so it's very surprising that he's being given any amount of deference. But he's also a princess, so that might have something to do with it.
This is true. So I think she's just kind of waiting to... So she's just kind of put the hood back on, sort of in the back, waiting to just sort of hear what exactly the deal is.
I think Zastra will bow slightly and say, "I can't say I've ever heard of Dereleft."
So Nyara makes a very, like, gracious gesture in return, you know? She offers you her hand, or he offers you his hand. This generating my own NPCs, can't believe it.
Incredible.
And for you to take. And
She'll take it.
Well, to be fair, Derelift has been missing for almost 100 years now. Most obvious reason for that is Faerun has undergone many cataclysmic shifts over the last 100 years, so a city completely disappearing is not that unheard of.
Gotcha.
No, it's certainly not the first time.
During this whole exchange where you bow and he offers you his hand, you notice that the bodyguards standing just behind him appear to be, like, subtly gesturing and whispering to him, as if reminding him of formal rules in politics.
I think Daly will step forward and just say, if you don't mind me asking, why exactly are you trying to get to the surface? Just, for our understanding, maybe what exactly we're up against here.
Well, unfortunately, I am beset with problems on all sides. Now that Dereleft... Well, first, when Dereleft left, it was not a very good time for the Drow of our city. Having been cut off from the goddess Lolth, things took a turn for the worse, as the various nobles and families in Dereleft sought to fill that void. Although the fighting died out after about 70 years, it was still quite intense, and not much of Dereleft is left. But now that we have returned to Faerun, I am beset with two other problems. My sister, the Queen of Dereleft, is missing, and I am trying to find her. But more than that, the city of Dereleft is flooding with seawater. Some terrible thing rent the surface of the Underdark, and seawater pours in a great mass into our city. The lower wards are already completely flooded. And
Yikes.
it is only a matter of time before the whole city becomes swallowed by the sea.
Well, that does indeed sound like a problem.
Are we aware of the general, like, placement of Dereleft on the map?
No. If you want to get out a map, you could ask where it is.
Good.
I have something that I very desperately need to ask. Knowing that particular story, or the particulars of his story now.
Yes.
How has your city been making out in the absence of Lolth?
Well, like I said, for the first 70 years, it was not very pretty. The infighting and backstabbing reached a terrible, terrible head, and eventually, when the population was culled to a very small number, we realized that things could not go on as they are. So, as Lolth had forsaken us, so we have her.
Zestra lets out a bit of a sigh, or a
Yeah.
held a breath. Okay.
Okay. Well, that definitely changes things.
That simplifies things greatly for me.
Yes. All right, and I guess my final question would be if there is somewhere in particular you are looking for refuge in the city, or if you're just trying to get up to in order to find others or something of that nature.
We require a escort to the city of Waterdeep, and then also, if you would be so kind, if you know someone we could request for aid for the city of Dereleth, a lord or king or whatever rule exists in Waterdeep.
I think we can reasonably help you accomplish these things.
He looks very pleased, and
All right.
his bodyguards remind him to bow just a little bit, like a little incline of the head.
Is there any sort of of course this is just my D&D brain, just insight check or seeing if he is being forthcoming or being sneaky drow shit with all of this? Or is it?
Let's see. I'll give you that one for free.
Okay.
At least as far as is concerned, he's not lying.
Okay.
You don't know about the bodyguards. They are much more
Yeah.
stone-faced and professional.
Yes.
But Nyara believes himself to be telling the truth.
Okay. Cool. Oh, well, all right. We should probably get out of here and get you bundled away in some fashion that we do not attract much attention, though. That might be a little bit more difficult.
Yes, but before we depart, do you mind if I ask just a couple questions?
Of course.
What is the proper term of deference in regards to you? Is it Princess Nyara?
Yes, Princess Nyara would be acceptable, she says, and kind of looks to her bodyguards for assurance.
I wait to see what the bodyguard's reaction is.
They don't react, but it seems like they've let him know that is okay.
Okay. Of course. Then, Princess Nyara, is this the entirety of your group?
This is the entirety of my expedition, yes. The rest of Dereleth is working to ensure that the seawater does not fall in at more than a trickle. But of course we are attempting to hold back the entire ocean.
Yes.
Then, is there any in your group who require any special amenities or medical care?
All of my group is very healthy and quite capable. Just it can't hurt to be too careful.
I understand. And we can talk the particulars of what your home requires, but as they've said, perhaps it would be best if we discover a way to transport you incognito.
He is kind of excited about the concept of being transported incognito. The chance to wear a disguise sounds like really fun.
Okay. Would I be able to, on hand, sort of have, maybe an extra cloak and, I don't know, even some sort of, disguise kit, makeup kit sort of thing to at least, make preliminary sorts of things?
You're definitely, a master of disguise. So, between you and the stuff that's just around in Gresha Daga's shop,
cool.
It's hard to make you look like anything other than a group of drow.
Yes.
But
I will give him my cloak.
Drow that people stay away from is definitely something you can make them look like. If you had to judge the power level of his bodyguards, they appear to be quite strong fighters and clerics. Not as strong as you, because your group is around somewhere between 12th and 15th level. You'd rate them as 7th level, which is extremely strong, just not as big as you.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think she'll sort of do her best to make everyone look, I guess, as intimidating as possible. We're people that have things to do and should not be bothered.
Okay. So you outfit them with cloaks and things, and so you look like when a rich person goes to a poor part of town where it's still obvious that they're rich, but like you probably should not bother them.
Yeah.
Are there any other things you want to do before you leave? Greshadaga is still here, of course. You can talk to her.
Do we want to get any sort of explosives?
We should decide where we are going. Obviously, I would like to take them back to the promenade.
Mm-hmm.
It is
The
not
Promenade of the
often...
Dark Maiden is the most obvious way to get back to the surface, but that might make it the most obvious target for assassins. You could wander back through the dungeon, but then you'll just run into whatever is in the dungeon.
Why not?
You can just go back through the dungeon. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just as we've
to the
established,
surface there.
the most dangerous dungeon in Faerun. Yeah.
No, we shouldn't.
Fuck that.
I would very much like to take them back to the promenade. It's not every day you find Drow who have managed to shake themselves from Loth's grasp.
Is there any way that we could, like, sort of find some sort of, like, back way of going to get there that's, like, a little less obvious, or is it just, like, kind of a straight shot?
We could go up the river.
It's mostly a straight shot. It's mostly just picking what conflict do you want to have and where.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go up the river, then you'd be sure that someone has to approach you by boat.
It's not a bad idea.
I don't think it would be particularly difficult to get a boat from someone.
Yeah.
Greshadaga will rent you one.
Oh.
She has access to a variety of things. So if you want to make me a little intelligence roll real quick, I'll tell you what ones they are.
All of us, or just one of us?
Whoever's interested.
I have rolled a 0.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm so proud of you. A result of 2, and I would let you know.
Oh,
I could spend a fate point on this, but I would prefer someone else roll.
Oh yeah, no, I can. Yeah, okay. All right. So I rolled a -1. My intelligence is a +2. Would I be able to use my otherworldly presence stunt, which is a +2, if I'm meeting someone for the first time?
You have already met Greshadaga.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. Okay.
If it was
I rolled
your
a
first
3.
interaction. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
You notice by looking around the room through certain signs and trappings and things that Greshadaga has now found herself in the employ of the Zentarim, likely dealing poisons and antidotes for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Zentarim, of course, are a hybrid mercenary organization that operates through Faerun, and they are known for having no scruples, just fair prices.
So I suppose we negotiate with the Zentarim through Greshadaga for a boat. Okay.
She gets you a nice price on a boat.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a handful of gold pieces, basically.
What's the worth of that comparatively?
So 50 gold pieces is about equal to a pound of gold, which is, a couple $1,000.
God damn it. I feel that. Rushk feels that.
So 1 gold piece is about 10 days of skilled labor.
Damn it.
Horrifying.
Rushk pays.
Fantasy
Rushk pays,
capitalism.
but she feels it.
You pay the tiefling girl, Lammy, you pay her like a silver piece and a half every day that she works.
Is that generous?
And that's generous, and it's a considerable amount of money for her family.
That's good.
I think Zastra will pay this. Without a second thought.
Okay, thank God.
I'm sure that if you desperately needed the money back, you could shake it out of the Church of Elizatri when you get there.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure this is your discretionary fund as a paladin.
You get a discretionary fund?
Look, bringing people back from the Underdark costs money.
It does.
Any of my personal funds that I do not use go back into the community, however.
That's legitimate. I don't really have anything else I want to do here aside from before we leave. I do want to talk to Gresha Daga, but that is at the end.
Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to do, or do you want to have that conversation with Gresha Daga?
Kind of thinking about maybe buying a poison. Or
I got all kinds of poisons, dearie. I've got your weak poisons, your fast-acting poisons, your contact poisons. And you notice one poison that she kind of skips over that she doesn't tell you about.
Okay. Sorry, is there anything in particular? Maybe something a little bit more specialized?
Well, what do you need it to do?
Maybe be something that works a little bit after the fact, or just special circumstances.
Special circumstances. You want to poison somebody and have enough time to get away first?
I mean, things happen, but...
Alright. So you want this one here. It comes in 2 varieties. One of them, you either slip it into a drink and it makes a very pleasant smell, but it's kind of a giveaway. Or I got this one, you need to prick them with something first.
Okay.
I like to use a needle, but you can use whatever. I've seen some crazy bitches use their fingernails.
The rules. Yes, I think the second one would be good.
Alright. How much you want of it? 1 dose, 2 doses, 7?
3 would probably be enough, I would say.
3. Okay. Alright, that'll be 23 gold plate pieces.
Ooh. How much money would I have?
You're a 12th level adventurer. Paying 22 gold pieces for a poison is not a super big deal.
Okay. Alright. That is fine. Okay.
It's a little bit like the same price as a horse. So, a significant amount of money, but you're not normal people. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think she'll sort of try and haggle or anything. Just
she boxes it up into a cute little container for you and puts a little bow on it. It looks like a box from a nice confectionery store.
Cute.
And it just says cupcakes on it.
Oh. She'll put it in her bag, kind of like stick it next to the cat.
The cat just kind of poking the box. Ink is just looking at it, and then looks out for a little bubble.
Can we draw attention to the fact that earlier you were making yourself look intimidating while wearing a bubble cat backpack?
They did not see her from the back. They didn't see anything. God. It's fine. It's a very intimidating cat.
Alrighty, you wanted to have a chat with Gresha?
I do, yeah.
So Gresha Daga is just kind of milling about her shop and, making things are in the proper place.
Right. Gresha Daga, before we leave, might I have a moment of your time?
I could spare a moment for you.
Thank you. I apologize for everything that happened. I just wanted to let you know that.
I don't know that I'm really in a place where I can accept your apology, but I'm not holding on to any grudges, Rushk.
I see. That's good.
I think we're both too old for that kind of thing.
Rushk just nods and sighs. Well then, perhaps the two of us getting on in age might find some time to enjoy a drink at the Fat Tail.
I think I could spare a couple moments for a drink.
Seems like you have more than enough moments to spare.
Well, you know how it is in poisons. People only buy them when they need them.
I'm sure I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
And she laughs a little bit. She says, of course you don't. Of course you don't. What would a doctor know about poison?
She smiles, says, well, I thank you for everything. I do hope I'll see you soon. I'm sure you can find where my shop is. She'll give a little bow and turn to leave.
You could see that she was smiling a little bit at the end of your conversation. Maybe in spite of herself.
Oh.
So, you board one of the cute little rafts that gives you transportation between Skullport and the Promenade of the Dark Main. It takes a little longer as far as distance is concerned. because you have to sail it up a couple of waterways and a lock. But the upside is, at least you can see danger coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you do.
Mhm.
Many of you are well used to ambushes and surprise attacks. So as you round a bend, you notice that there are some strangely shaped stalactites hanging down from the ceiling, where absolutely any moment someone is going to jump off of them and attempt to commandeer your boat. So you have a moment to prepare before you are absolutely going to be ambushed. What would you like to do?
Rushk, can you see in the dark?
Rushk is a human. Rushk cannot see in the dark.
What a strange thing to ask.
I will cast Moonlight and
Nice.
create the advantage light.
Okay.
Let me roll some fucking dice. That is a 3.
Okay. Yep. So you get one free invocation of it.
Mhm.
Casting Moonlight is not a particularly difficult spell.
No. That is a spell that most even not clerics of Ilustri can manage.
Is there a particularly, separate portion of this boat? Is it, just like one flat plane? Or is there anywhere that we could usher the princess so that he's safe?
It is just a flat kind of barge sort of thing. There's a raised platform where the steering thing is, and then the rest of it is just a flat part of the boat. It's meant to carry cargo and things. It's not really meant to be
Right.
like a ship.
Right. It's more similar to like a raft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case, Zastra, Dahlia, if you don't mind, I will linger in the back. I'm not much of a fighter, but I will keep an eye on the cargo.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible for me to, I'm not quite sure what the word would be, take point in defense against Nyara, leaving like the main fighting to Zastra and Dahlia, but just acting as like the final stopgap for anything that slips through?
My brain turned off. Was this aimed at me?
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry,
that's
was
correct.
Okay.
You're talking about hanging back near Nyara and being a stopgap against anything that attempts to attack him?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so obviously the Nyara's guard is going to form around Nyara in a shield. So you can hang out with them.
Yes, I will hang out with them. It should be noted that Rushk does not have a weapon, so
Interesting.
good luck.
Zester will kind of stand towards the center of the raft and just be ready.
Really quickly, so how exactly do spells work with this system? Are they stunts? Are they something separate? Or
if you want a specific spell to do something specific that changes the rules in some way, it would need to be a stunt.
Okay.
But if you were just using this spell to do one of the basic 4 actions, attack, defend, create an advantage, overcome, then it just does that. It's just flavoring. Like you can say, I use magic, I use my physical ability, I use my skills, I use this magic item I have.
I cast Moonlight to make light.
Okay.
Cast Moonlight to make light, creating the advantage. Moonlight.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so something like Eldritch Blast would just be like
just an
normal
attack
sort of
roll, yeah.
thing. Cool. All right then. So yeah, then I think Dahlia would probably just prep a spell to be ready for whenever someone drops down. Just have it ready to go.
Are you doing anything special with your familiar?
I think she'll probably take ink out. I think I'm trying to decide if, with the... Again, my brain is just, steeped in D&D, so, essentially, familiars can give advantage or, do, help action and all that kind of stuff, so,
So, probably what Ink would do is just go to the other side of the boat from you and just hide, because as a familiar, he has the magical ability to hide in plain sight. And then if you need to surprise somebody, you can call on him.
Cool. Okay, that works. All right. So yeah, she'll let him out of his little backpack.
Okay. So as the boat... I'm sorry, what you say?
Say, I think Zafra or Zastra. God damn it, you have me doing it now.
You did it too!
Fuck. I think Zastra is just standing near the center of the boat in the open with her hand on the hilt of, what did I decide to name that sword? Oh, right, the Song of Vespertine, and none of her weapons drawn.
So the boat sails under the groups of hanging rock. And it is extremely difficult to see them, but you do see the glint of steel as several assassins drop onto the boat from various locations. They hit on all of the corners. There are 4 of them. 3 of them look roughly the same. They're holding 2 knives. They're cloaked in some kind of garb that hides their faces. And one of them is holding a wicked-looking sword, and she looks a little bit scarier than the rest. So you weren't surprised, because you knew this was coming. So the players get to act first. There are 4 assassins, and they are attempting to make your life very difficult.
Okay. So I think Delia will probably just cast Eldritch Blast on the one with the fancy sword. So essentially force damage plus potentially knocking her backwards, if that ends up working out. So attack roll. And then would I be able to use it with charisma for attacking? Cool. Okay.
Since you're attacking using your warlock spells, charisma makes a completely normal sense.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right, +2, +3, +5 total.
+2, +3, +5?
Sorry, total of 5.
Oh, okay.
Very confusing on my part. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, she has a very high combat score for this, and she has a special stunt, which makes her hard to hit with spells. So unfortunately, it does not beat her 6.
All right, damn.
She makes a little flourish with your cloak, and your Eldritch Blast impacts it and fizzles out to nothing.
Okay.
What can I make out about these assassins?
Very obviously, Drow assassins, probably Wolf assassins. You know from the fact that they're holding daggers, probably have some kind of poison on them, so you would like to not get stabbed by them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think upon seeing that this cloak seems to have some sort of anti-magical properties, I think Deal will just be like, I think you might want to go for the big one, since I don't think anything I am going to do will be able to hit her.
Of course. I would like to spend a fate point to activate my stunt, Night's Edge and Eclipse, which are my 2 dancing swords. I would like to have those 2. Relatively, which of the assassins is the closest to Niara?
So on the back half of the boat is one of the normal assassins, and what you guess is probably their leader. And on the front half of the boat are the other 2 assassins.
Okay. I will send my 2 dancing swords to engage the 2 of the normal assassins, and I will approach the reasonably more skilled assassin.
Okay.
And as I do, I will draw my singing sword, and I would like to attempt to create the advantage intimidated.
Okay. You're attempting to intimidate the assassins in general?
Yes.
Okay, that is probably going to be a difficulty of 4.
Okay. That is a 5.
Nice.
Okay. So your buddy gets 1 free aspect. As you draw the sword, the blade starts to sing. They're all aware of the fact that you are not just some ordinary Drow fighter, but in fact a very accomplished paladin of the tree. So that's your action, and you want to have your swords attack?
Yes.
Okay, can you go ahead and make your attack actions from them, and I'll make the defense actions?
All right. One of them gets a 3, and the other one gets a 2.
Okay. Unfortunately, they are quite skilled assassins, and so they roll well enough that the singing swords just struggle to catch up with them. That leaves Rishk.
Is it possible to, set actions in Fate? I'm not exactly sure.
What are you trying to do?
Only act if I'm attacked.
Yeah, you could probably hold on to your turn until you get attacked.
Perfect. Yeah, I just want to prepare an action for being attacked.
Okay. will you intersect an assassin if it goes for Yara's group?
Yes. Sorry, I should have clarified. It's not me that I'm. All right, hold
The
on.
little
Let me get my
group you're part of.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So the leader looks like they're now probably embattled with Zastra. So that one ignores the group for now, while the other one darts in to make an attack and hopefully slip through and attack her target. So she's attacking with her 2 poison knives. What would you like to do?
Okay. Is it possible? How many people are watching right now? How many people are aware of me?
Everyone is aware of you. I don't know how many people are looking directly at you. I think probably the assassin and Nyara are looking directly at you.
Okay. In that case, remind me how to use aspects. I have a brain like a fucking block of Swiss cheese.
So,
forgive me if I ask questions.
Aspects are you spend a fate point to either re-roll or add a bonus to a roll. You can wait until you see the roll to do that.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
basically if there's an aspect that will help you bump it above the line and you want to spend some fate points, you can do that.
Perfect. All right. So what I would like to do, I don't know if this would be possible, if it's 2 actions or not, is take one of the blades with my doctor's trunk and grab the arm that has the other blade, and using the just natural stance of an attacker against themselves. Is that possible?
Okay, so that sounds like you want to do 2 things. You want to defend from her attack and then use her momentum to attack her back.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start with the defense.
Okay.
She's attacking you with her wicked poison knives and has a fairly decent attacking skill.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets a 1. So in what manner are you trying to defend? This sounds like you're probably trying to use dexterity. You want to...
Yes. Just, being quick enough to let the knife plant straight into the trunk that I carry.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your dexterity, and you got to beat a 1. Well, tie a 1 actually would be fine.
Thankfully, beat a 1. I got -2, but I have a 3 in dexterity.
Nice.
Easy. So you tie with the 1, tie goes to defenders. So it's a very narrow thing, but you counted on that because you needed to lure the assassin in very close for your attack.
Okay. And then next, using the fact that when attacking with a weapon, there's a very specific way that all of your muscles are working together, I'm going to plant my hand just under her own and attempt to use her own strength against her to drive the weapon up into her ribs.
Okay. She's going to make a defense with her dexterity to try and get around this.
Okay.
She's quite dexterous, and so she gets a 3.
Okay. I also get a 3, but can I use harm principle?
Absolutely.
Primum nocere to spend a fate point to bump that up by 2? 2. Right? Is that how that works?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
so
perfect.
You can bump that up to beat it by 2, which means you inflict 2 stress.
Well, I would normally inflict 2 stress, but I'm going to use my stunt murder weapon, which is I can inflict... If I inflict a wound with a weapon that is not my own, I can increase the wound's consequence by 1.
Okay. So you very dexterously use the momentum of her attack and the fact that she can't get out of the way of her own strike to slide her knife up and into her ribs. And she, has an extremely surprised and violent reaction to this.
Oof.
Such that after being stabbed, with the knife still in, she doesn't even try to take it out. She just backs away immediately from you and falls off the side of the boat.
Shit.
She didn't stumble or anything. She left.
She left. Hit the bricks.
Yep.
Rush
Right.
will look back at the femboy with a very sad expression. Don't tell anyone.
The assassins hear the splash of water and see that one of them is gone, and so they're a little bit little bit not super happy about this. So the other two, the two normal ones, make to leave. And the leader is going to make one attack against you, Zastra.
Okay.
I rolled terribly, so she's using one of her fate points. She's a very skilled combatant, quite dexterous, so she gets a 5 on her attack roll after I burn her ability, Consummate Killer.
Said she gets a 5?
Mm-hmm.
I will attempt to just step out of the way of this attack. So I will use my dexterity to defend, and I get a 4.
Okay. So this is going to hit you. So I'm using her stunt No Witnesses. I'm paying a fate point, and I am bumping it up to beat you by... You said you got a 4?
Mm-hmm.
I'm now beating you by 3.
Okay.
All right, so take 3 stress.
I will fill my 3 box.
Holy
Hey.
fuck.
Yikes.
I'm spending her last fate point
Oh god.
to attack you again.
Can we do anything?
All right.
Is there any
Yeah, I was gonna say,
possibility
can
that Dalia-
is it...
You already
a
had your turns.
Yeah, that's what I figured, so I don't have action.
She gets a 7.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Fuck.
Yikes.
All right. I defend with a 2,
Oh my
so I will spend a fate point.
Right.
Hang on, I gotta do some math in my head real quick.
What is it that you got?
I got a 4. No,
Okay.
I got a... Yeah,
You got
when
a
I spend a
2.
fate point, I get a 2.
Mhm.
Or I get a 4. God damn, my brain is awful at numbers.
So that is still 3 stress you'd take, so you would take a minor consequence.
I could also just fill my 1 and 2 boxes.
You could also just fill your 1 and 2 boxes.
But no, I will take a mild consequence and fill my 1 box.
Okay, take a mild consequence, poisoned.
Oh, fuck.
It's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's some peak drow shit right there.
Okay. Having gotten an attack on you and seeing that it does not immediately fell you despite using the strength of her skill, she too just drops off the side of the boat and into the water. You get the feeling that this was less a concentrated assassination effort and more of a test of the defenses surrounding the princess.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever comes next is going to be much deadlier.
Of course.
So you all check each other for injuries. Mostly you're okay, except you notice that the wound, the grazing wound on Zastra is oozing some green fluid that does not look good.
Yeah,
Can't say this is the first time I've had this happen.
won't be the last.
So, does our raft require any manual control that Zastra was responsible for?
Not that Zastra was responsible for. I think one of the princess's retinue is just steering.
Okay,
It's just a raft. It's not a big deal.
perfect.
Also, do we want to maybe go off to the side for a second, just recoup what we're gonna do? Or should
It
we
is
just...
important to keep moving on.
Okay.
First, I mean, I assume we're kind of captive to the raft while it gets to where it's going. I don't exactly know what the currents here are like, if they're whitewater or anything.
They're pretty still.
Okay, in that case, I guess I'll let it continue taking us wherever we're going. But Zastra, shirt off. Come here.
Of course. She will. She will take off her clothes. Or as much as is needed, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Rushk gets on her, cheaters, which are reading glasses or whatever, you know.
You do
Can I
notice
attempt-
she is covered in scars.
Yep.
I've probably seen her shirtless once or twice since we worked together
Probably.
in the Dragonwell shit.
She does have a scar where it looks like she was pierced from one side to the other with some sort of large spell.
Oof.
That's pretty sick.
Ouch. Big ouch.
Can I attempt to identify the poison? No, rather, can I attempt to identify the danger level of the poison? When it approaches necessary to treat?
Mm-hmm. So, as a minor consequence, it's going to fall off naturally through 2 scenes. So we can say that you are treating her poison,
Okay.
but it's not going to be in much of a problem for very long.
Okay.
So you have the requisite antidotes and things, and the both of you know, because you've been stabbed with this poison before, it's a type of
Mhm.
spider venom. It's not going to feel great,
Mhm.
and it's going to leave the area both numbed and also feeling like it is on fire, but it's something you'll
Yep.
recover from
Yep.
fairly
Love
easily.
to see it.
Yep. Yeah, I assume one of the things I grabbed before we left was just like wound wash and some of the more common antivenoms and tinctures and shit for what Drow like to use.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You'll live. Put your shirt back on.
She will do this.
Wow. Priest of Elizatry putting her clothes back on. That's surprising.
Well, we could still get attacked by more assassins.
It's true. I
True,
mean, we
true.
probably will get attacked by more assassins.
So the rest of the trip to the promenade is uneventful. You obviously keep watch for more assassins, but since they didn't just like brutally slaughter you in the first hit, you think that they're probably just going to go do some planning. But they do know where you're headed. They do know that you're going to the promenade, so simply going to the surface is probably not going to be enough to evade your Drow assassins forever.
No. But also, like, the church can provide protection, at
True.
least to some extent.
Also, do we maybe want to switch it up and like go like dock it, go by foot instead, so that we're coming from a different approach, or no?
I mean, it's
Yeah.
immaterial. I'm not going to attack you with
Okay.
anything else.
No.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so you make it to the promenade. They are very surprised. But the head priestess there, of course, like welcomes them very graciously. And they
Mhm.
make very formal introductions. And they'll allow you to use the portal back to Waterdeep.
I think I would offer to just leave them here, as I have other business to attend to in the city. They're welcome to come up to the surface with us, but they do not have to. The priestesses here are more than capable of getting you up there and providing
That's
protection if you so need.
So Nira is like, well, that is true. My quests are very urgent. If
Mhm.
I can be seen by the authority of Waterdeep as soon as possible, I would be very grateful.
Well,
We do technically need to go that
as it
way.
happens, we do have a meeting with Lariel Silverhand. I don't see why I can't just bring you with me.
Okay. Is that agreeable to all parties involved?
Rushgadons.
Okay. No risk for the wicked, it sounds like. You're
Yeah.
just going to be barging into Laryl Silverhand's office with a cadre of Drow in tow.
At 3 in the morning.
Doing whatever it
my
is that
God.
Val is avoiding.
Yes. Because I believe
Hoping
you
to
said
God
it was
it's not her
getting on
taxes.
towards evening when we started this.
Yeah, it is closer to dawn now.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's fine.
It's fine.
I'm
Act like you
sure
never
that it
pulled an
is fine
all-nighter
for the
before.
both of you, but I'm certainly feeling it.
Okay. I think that's good for a first session. We've gone
Yeah.
just a little bit shy of 2 hours. So I think I'm going to call it here.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the first episode of Drow and Dracoliches. You can find all relevant information about our players and things like that in the show notes. Thank you, Ross, for writing those. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.